So we're live. If you didn't see this, you're watching it later on, then Instagram and Facebook and whatnot. But so we're gonna do a little test. We've been doing a lot of talking and a lot of videos on this whole bromate because you still see everybody talking about it. So what Danny did, which he should be in here in a minute now, Danny made. We'll bring you over here. Here's Danny boy. So Danny mixed two doughs. Okay, you mixed them both in planetary mixer. So both of them in a planetary mixer, okay, which is your standard Hobart, as opposed to a spiral mixer, which is your standard Malt. Now, you'll see here we got the heritage flour, and we got a bromated flour. So we're going to look at these. So they basically look the same, right? Because the same hands mix the dough and then roll the dough balls. But what we're going to talk about is the stretch and the difference that you're going to see in the stretch. So again, these doughs were both made mixed same amount of time.
Same amount of time, same water temperature, same everything. I made sure that it was the exact.
Soup to nuts. The only thing that changed was a bromated flour and an unbromated flour. Which again, if you have interest or have questions, or there's a lot of videos on our social media pages that you can go and watch. If you need help, whatever, you can contact us. Whether you need consultation or if you have a question, we'll answer questions.
And make sure you all share the live. Share the live for us. Share the live.
Are they not sharing?
Hit the like button.
Don't be greedy. All right, double tap the screen. All right, so Danny has unbromated. And this is the thing that typically a student's going to come in and see, and this is the feeling. This is why we do videos, we talk about stuff and whatnot, but why we don't do online classes and why we do hands-on only. Because you coming in here and working side by side with us is going to give you such a greater understanding and bring so much more value and knowledge to what
You can watch hours and hours of video, but not understand anything. And then when you get your hands on it, it's like, oh, it clicks.
Correct. All right. So you got your dough.
I got mine.
I got my dough. All right. So the difference really what you're going to see is you got to stretch yours. So we'll stretch it the same. So the strength that you're going to get out of a bromated flour is going to be a lot different, and you're going to feel. And to somebody who's been making pizza for a long time, right? Any pizza maker. So people say no big deal, but somebody who's been mixing with a bromated flour for 30, 40, 50 years, it's going to be a difference. You're going to see a difference. So this dough definitely has more stretchability to it because this has the bromate that's basically is your strength in the dough. It's not so much the gluten net, but it's that strength in the dough. And Danny is mixing his. So it's a lot easier to stretch. But at the same time, if you're not producing that gluten net, your frosting's going to change and it's not going to look the same.
So what's what I'm looking at now?
So this is the bromated flour. And
Right.
you're going to see it again. So I stretched it out a little more and then a little bit more and then it shrunk back. So I'm going to go back to making it back to a larger
Bromated.
and unbromated.
So the bromate, you're going to feel that kind of elasticity, like rubber band, bring it back. Whereas this one's a little bit less on the pullback. So it's easier to stretch in my eyes. Obviously these photos. But yeah, you feel it when you mix between the two. And if you go from doing it, like Anthony says, 30 years mixing with bromate, and then you switch to an unbromated flour, it's night and day. 100%.
And that's when you really see the difference. So we tell people, buy a couple of bags of unbromated flour and mix and get yourself the used to seeing. Your dough balls will look different in the beginning because there's certain ways we roll our dough balls. You're going to see a flatter dough ball. You're going to see a difference in, and it will bake up. Now, flavor wise, bromate doesn't have, doesn't bring really flavor to your,
No,
to your pizza. So you're not going to see much of a difference in flavor. Now, if we change from one flour to another, you might have a different flavor profile just because the finish of those each flour is a little bit different. And we'll use obviously our Grande East Coast blend.
So we got
What do you got?
says hi chef, thank you for the live demo. I am looking from Sri Lanka.
Oh, Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
I was wondering where you guys were.
I got another comment. Never heard of bromate. Does it affect anything else? Noticeable flavor or texture?
So texture is what it's going to produce because it's basically used as a dough conditioner and strengthener. So that's what's going to happen. Where's that question located from?
Where you located? That's Oliver Burt's.
but bromate is only used here in the United States.
Yeah, if you're outside of the U.S., you're not going to have to deal with bromate and flours.
And it's becoming less and less available in the U.S.
Got another question from Sri Lanka. What is your secret sauce recipe?
Yeah, come and take a class.
That's right.
Listen, at the end of the day, it's good tomatoes, it's fresh herbs. It all depends on what style of pizza we're doing. If we're doing American style, then we use a lot of dry herbs, oregano, basil, granulated garlic, which is another thing you don't see much of, except for oregano outside of U.S.
Yep, and these comments are coming from our YouTube subscribers. We are live on Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram right now, guys. So please continue to share.
So
Okay.
pizzas are in, and then we should see a difference in how a crust develops and how.
All right. Oliver's from UK, from the UK. He said, but once cooked, he means. Can you tell when you eat it? As he's asking.
No, not really. It's more of developing a stronger dough for pizza makers. And bromated flours, you'll see more in East Coast, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, in the pizzerias there, bagel shops. And that was because everybody mixes. Still, a lot of people still in the U.S. mix with planetary mixes. So again, after this video, when you go on, if you go on our Pizza Culinary Academy and see some of our videos, we'll talk about planetary mixes, which probably mostly in Europe, you see them using for cookies, making whipped cream and whatnot. But they'll use the dough hook here. We'll use the dough hook here in the US to make our dough, where in Europe, you guys mainly use spiral mixers to produce bread and doughs and, glutinous doughs anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people overseas don't really understand the difference of US market to
Yeah.
to the European market.
Yeah. So,
All right, we got any other questions, guys? While y'all
say,
are waiting, any other questions? Shoot 'em.
we got all sorts of awesome classes. We got the 5-day certification class that I teach through School Italiana Pizzaioli. We go everything from the science, the grain of wheat, all the way to the pizza on the plate. You're not going to get more hands-on than we do here at the Academy. We got the 3-day American class. We cover New York, New Haven, Detroit, Chicago. That's pretty much the only ones I go with. And then we just put up, or we haven't put it up yet, but for our returning students or those that have gone through the 5-day, we have our advanced high hydration Paula, Roman, Pinza, Focaccia class that we're coming up September, first week of September, the 1st to the 3rd, I believe. So I sent out an email. Hopefully we get you guys signed up. And I highly recommend taking the 5-day class because it's not just about the pizza. It's about the understanding of dough mixing, ingredients, time, temperature, handling, stretching.
There's a lot more science to it than just making a pizza. And that's what people don't realize. It's 5 days of learning and then making, right? So we build a foundation and then continue to stack the bricks on top of it. So that's what we do. again, if you follow our social media pages, there's more or less recipes and everything on there. This dough was based for a 16, 18-inch pizza, so we have
550.
550 grams of total dough for these dough balls.
All right. And next question I got says I'm very interested in trying to replicate an NY style. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm very interested in trying to replicate an NY style. Do you guys ever use that malt salt? I forgot what it's called. Any thoughts on it?
Malt salt?
Yeah, that's what he said. Malt salt.
Where you located?
I'll. That is Sri Lanka.
Oh, Sri Lanka?
Yeah.
Yeah, malt salt's something I've never even heard of in the business. I've been in the business for a few years. So that's something I haven't. I mean, we will use not devitalized, diastatic, non-diastatic malt for color.
Right. And then we also have diastatic malt for the enzyme activity for longer fermented doughs. But
I think is it
Diastatic.
yes, that's what he's talking about. He could
So
remember, yeah.
we can. So it all depends on necessary. So we tell people, right? One of the things we talk about is if you're using malt or sugar in dough, it's more depends on the temperature. You're using that as getting color out of your dough and the temperature that you're baking with, and not so much flavor. So if you're cooking at a lower temperature, I mean, if you start going higher up in
Right.
quantities, depending on what your percentages are,
you don't want to.
yeah, and you're not using that as
Yeah. And,
as a sweetener. If you're making a sweet dough, different
right.
ball game that you're not really making pizza with.
But like diastatic malt, non-diastatic. Non-diastatic for shorter fermentations, lower temperature bakes. If you're going with a longer fermentation, that's when you're going to use the diastatic. But these are some of the things we teach when we do the 5-day course. So you have that understanding of why do I use this one over that one.
Yeah. So a lot of guys who are bakers, or a lot of people who are bakers that go into making pizza, when you bake a loaf of bread, you're at 350, 375 degrees Fahrenheit. And then when you go into pizza, you're typically going up to 500, 600, 700 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's a change. And you got to realize that it's that heat that's going to give you color. You can put a little bit of sugar in,
Right.
if need be, to get a little bit more color on it, though. But if you're going to a higher temperature, there's typically, if you're using the right flours for the right dough, for the right pizza, there's enough natural sugars in that flour that are going to give you caramelization to your pizza. To your color.
And also, a lot of American flours are pre-malted. So they already have a sugar aspect. Look at these.
Rocky rhythm.
Yeah.
All right, so the first one, in the one that Danny stretched out, and Danny is definitely a crust stretcher. Well, but see, for me, this is the difference. This is what you're going to see a lot more on a bromated flour because you have a
Right.
tighter
Yeah.
gluten net, and then when it bakes, it's a little bit stronger and it pops. You're going to get a flatter crust on an unbromated
Correct.
one if you're not producing the gluten net that you're used to. So if you like this crust in your pizzeria and you want a bigger crust and you go to an unbromated and it comes out like this, that it's your difference. That's really what
Right.
helps make your difference is a thicker crust. So if you're not changing your mixer or doing something to be consistent with it, you're going to end with a flatter pizza as opposed to a bigger crust.
And these are things that we teach here at the academy. We do the consultation because it's a new thing. New York is now banning bromate.
Yeah, and it's going to happen throughout the whole East Coast, and then it's
The
another
whole
thing
country is
throughout the whole country. Because listen, I think they make it out worse than it is, but at the same time, it's not a needed product
right.
or ingredient in your flours.
Correct.
So, so if this is something that you're changing with, especially for all you East Coast guys, you have questions, reach out. I don't care, you've been in business 30, 40, 50 years. When something has to change, and if you've been doing the same thing for 30 years, 40 years, you're going to need a little bit of understanding. All right. And we've had a lot of guys that we've done work with already reach out to us. And, you know, we've helped out. So we're happy to help out with whoever you can to keep the consistency of what you guys been doing for so many years going. So, any questions?
Lola on Facebook says she need a slice.
Where you got it? You got to come down here.
Yeah, you gotta come to Lyle. Go to Lyle.
Milo, like,
So,
all right.
all right.
So that's it. Unless there's any other questions.
Any other questions, guys? If not, it's time to eat.
Right. We're a little bit late for lunch, so I'll start.
All right. So, like I said, Pizza Culinary Academy, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, YouTube. Oh yeah, follow our YouTube channel. You'll see a lot of videos, full videos there, and then clips on the other ones.
Danny, they said you make some great jardinera.
Ooh.
This is
It's a blast from the past.
right. I haven't had none.
I'm making a batch in a few weeks. I got commissioned to make a batch, so it will be done. But yeah,
All right.
Right.
from us, love you guys. God bless America.